court and won. Y'all, that is crazy. If I sound hoarse, it's because I am. I'm also tired. Y'all, this is something else. This is crazy. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. Because I want to get straight to this. And I have a couple more live scheduled for today. And then I'm going to try my best to end the day early because I am exhausted, people. I'm exhausted. Yep, I am. But this is a lot of fun. I enjoy hanging out with you all. So let's see here. Da, 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 da. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. We're gonna get started on this. I pulled up a couple videos that I saw on A-Aron has his own YouTube channel as well. It is I think it's Growing Up Scientology. And they even have a interrogation. So I want to see that. So you guys come on in. Let me know if you can hear me. Put a one in the chat. Speak to everybody. Speak to everybody. Let's get some music going. And let's check this out. Interrogations are fun. Okay. If you guys aren't fans, listen. They are absolute fun. You get to learn a lot too. So let's see. I wanted to watch this little interrogation. And we're gonna watch it.
Yeah. So
for those who know that one of the Scientology, Sea Orgs is in Clearwater, Florida. And so this is where A-Aron is in Clearwater, Florida, the police department. And I have not read the court documents yet. And I really now I feel like I have to just to do my due diligence to find out exactly what this whole case was about. I'm just tripping out. We're gonna find out what's going on here in this interrogation. So that's why I want to start with this interrogation first. And then we're gonna go to the video where he got a not guilty verdict. But I wanted to start here so we can kind of get an idea of exactly what in the world is going on here. So this is the interrogation of ex-Scientologist A-Aron Smith, 11 on July 29, 2025, which was last year. So I'm impressed. Court hearing, that whole case just kind of went kind of fast. He got a not guilty verdict already. And I'm sure the courts probably were like, "Ugh, this is a waste of time." Scientology is a cult and it should not have as much power that it has in the United States of America. People need to stop being scared of them. They're only human beings. We have an army. You can't make this up. So let's get to this. Y'all put a one in the chat where you can see it here. Let's go.
So from like 12 years old to 26 years old, I worked full time for Scientology. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to high school. Didn't go to middle school. And that's one.
Okay, he was charged with battery for getting cornstarch on a Scientology security guard during a protest. So they charged him with battery. What? How's it battery? You gotta be kidding me. Y'all. A charge of battery. Because I want to be, like I said, I definitely want to be thorough in this. Battery. I want to make sure, because I'm like, okay. A charge of battery crime involves the intentional and unlawful physical contact with another person that cause harm, pain, or offense. The legal definition of battery varies by state, but it generally requires three elements: intent, contact, and lack of consent. If you don't intentionally plan on having cornstarch land on somebody and you did not make physical contact with them, how do they come up with battery? Forget a not guilty verdict. They shouldn't have even gone past the probable cause hearing. This charge should have been dismissed. What is wrong with the prosecutor? They have to be all levels of incompetent. You can't make this up. So he got charged with battery, and he didn't even make contact. No contact, and it was not intentional, because if you are protesting, let's just say you throw some stuff in the air, you're not intentionally aiming towards a specific person, or something happens and it just falls on someone walking past. That doesn't mean that that's battery. When the law gives you the elements of that, y'all. Hey, Nija, how you doing? Poetry Princess, what's going on? Juju is a member. Yeah, I am perplexed. And I like to look up the laws and the definitions and the requirements for these laws to be met, so that in any situation, you guys will have the knowledge. Now you know what a charge of battery requires. This is so ridiculous. So he was out protesting, and somebody got cornstarch on them. And this man had to go. And Clearwater Police Department didn't help at all. They was like, yeah, this makes sense. Let's go ahead and go through a whole trial on this dumb crap. This is so stupid. This man is being interrogated for being charged with battery because cornstarch got on a Scientologist security guard. Get the F out of here. You can't make this.
That's one of the things, like, you know, it's like the Clearwater Police didn't care when hundreds of children were working 100 and I'm not casting aspersions in what's here right now, but it's like when you got people like me who grew up as basically child labor, working for the space, not going to school, working 100 hours a week, not living with our parents.
They had child labor.
Police didn't really seem to care about anything then, but now chalk is a big deal. A guy getting cornstarch is a big deal, but you know, all the child.
Yeah, tell it like it is. Clearwater Police Department is incompetent. They're buffoons. They're sitting here catering and cowering to Scientologists. You know, they believe in, you know, Martians from outer space landed in a volcano. You know, somehow that's what we're supposed to be afraid of in the United States of America. This cult that believes in a Xenu, you know, warrior princess that landed in a volcano and somehow is trapping souls or something. If I did.
Trafficking, not a big deal. No one's being arrested for that. Now I'm not trying to make a big, like, it's like you can only prosecute crimes that get reported to.
No, yeah.
But it's like it's a bit of the irony of why things like this do not.
Hey, JR.
Like Scientology is just cutting off its nose to spite its face. That's why this shit backfires when Scientology tries to do it. And that's why I'm okay with it happening. That's why I'm not like, oh my God, this is terrible. It's an inconvenience. This is more terrible for Scientology than it is for me. You know what I mean?
And like my partner said, we got 2, maybe 3 calls before we actually came out to you.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Drove by, and then the allegation of battery was made. Now we have to.
Totally, no, I get it.
This is the dumbest thing ever.
Oh, so what he said about once you transported, you were arrested. So whatever they said in LA, that would have been not true. That was his response to me saying, I'm assuming the detective doesn't have like latitude to decide. Like, I don't know what I'm assuming it's not up to him whether I'm going to jail or not. Like, it seems like it's a done thing.
So I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
We don't know why detectives are obviously the call to you.
Right.
But it's nothing like that we don't handle on a daily basis where they're, unless they know something we don't and they're not telling us. Like I said,
yeah, this is so dumb.
Don't know why we're here. We usually don't.
Interesting.
So
interesting. Okay.
We're doing what we're told, man.
Y'all, that was the interrogation. It was so dumb.
Jack is saying, are you allowed back to the main building? I'll be allowed back there in 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
So this is after the hearing. Prosecutors lose their mind after huge loss. I'm sure they do. Prosecutors are dumb down there because they should not have ever taken this flinky ass charge to trial. It should not have gone past the probable cause hearing. It should have been dismissed. All the elements of battery were not met. They could not sufficiently prove it. They would not have been able to meet their burden, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. This is a criminal matter. The prosecutors are stupid.
They still have one more charge to fight, one more trial. One more trial.
No,
it's
stupid.
April 14th in 6 weeks, and then I'll be able to go back to the building.
The
The truth is, if the state attorney has any common sense whatsoever, they will drop the second charge before we go to trial. But I'm actually hoping they don't drop the charge because I want to go 2-0 against Scientology in the state of Florida. I want to go 2 and mother
I want to go.
oh against Scientology in the state of Florida. So if they want to puss out and drop the charge, that's fine. But I hope they don't. I hope they don't. You listening to me, Morgan? Me? I hope you don't drop the charge. And whatever your little incompetent co-counsel was, I can never remember his name. Anyway, I'll see you guys in court. I'll see you guys in court in 6 weeks. We'll run back again. And they, by the way, the state attorney, you guys know the video that I did the day after the trial? It was about a 90-minute video. I gave you guys like kind of the blow by blow of what happened in court. Would you even believe that the state attorney complained to the judge about what I said in my video? They're literally watching the state attorney is being as much of a stalker as the Church of Scientology.
To the state attorney of Florida, you need to go back to law school or surrender your bar license. You are an incompetent jackass. You have no idea how the law works. And you knew you could not meet your burden after the probable cause hearing when you had lack of evidence. You had to prove intent and you failed to do that. You failed. You failed. You failed. How dare you sit here and represent our legal branch of government? Because Scientology is throwing a tantrum like we give a damn. It's a cult that believe in creatures from outer space landing in volcanoes. What in the entire F word is wrong with you, state attorney for Florida? Keep watching, punk. Can't make this up.
The state attorney literally complained to the judge that I was criticizing them in my video. Is there some law that says I'm not allowed to say the state attorneys were completely incompetent and did a horrifically terrible job in court? And
no, there's no law. It's called free speech and expression and freedom of the press. The state attorneys in Florida are incompetent. They're dumb. They need to surrender their bar license. Shame on them. They're an embarrassment to any judicial branch of government and to the court of law. The rule of law as well. They're an embarrassment. They embarrassed themselves. And they operated on pride and ego and not on evidence and a finding of fact law. Or evidence at all. None of that. You know, things that they were taught in law school.
We're totally amateur and we're acting like children who had seen lawyers like in the movies and were doing their best to act like lawyers but had no skill or charisma. Am I not allowed to criticize the state attorneys? You guys have to be out of your mind to think that I'm not allowed to criticize your performance in court on a trial that I won. You guys are so incompetent, and apparently you're stupid as well, okay? Yeah, you guys got your asses handed to you in court. You think I'm not allowed to do a video telling people about that? You think you can control whether I talk about what happened in a trial that I won? So you're not only incompetent, you're also completely stupid, which means you're definitely not smart enough to drop the charges. So I'll see you guys in court in 6 weeks. Something tells me you're not going to be any better the second time than you were the first time. Clip that and send that video to the judge. How about that? How about them apples? There you go. Take that. Unbelievable. You guys are like children out there. Children in the courtroom and children in real life. Mommy, he said something mean about me. Unbelievable. Grow the up. How'd you become a lawyer with skin that thin? I can't even believe.
He's not even skin. He's impeding upon constitutional rights. Free speech and expression allows you to express your disdain against the government and employees of such, especially those that are supposed to be representing it. He's an attorney for the state of Florida, you know, a state level government. You can't make this up. He's the actual state attorney. Hired by the state. Government entity. You can't make this up. Get the F out of here, state attorney of Florida, and kick rocks. Go jump into the ocean. What the hell? Play in traffic.
All right, we're almost at 1,000 likes, you guys.
Yeah, hit the like button.
Cash me outside. How about that? Cash me outside. How about that? Now that I said cash me outside, how about that? They'll probably clip that and send it to the judge and be like, "Oh, judge, he threatened physical violence upon us. He said, cash me outside. How about that? He was asking us to come outside so he could beat us up." Like, these lawyers are unbelievable. Xenu bit the dust. We run out of juice.
He said, "Catch me outside." I love
Are you
it.
attempting to investigate Scientology?
Are you attempting to investigate Scientology?
What kind of glasses are these?
What kind of glasses are these?
Has he been filming?
Go back to the beginning.
All you have to do is follow the commands.
Oh my gosh.
Ben Schneider has just joined the Sea organization.
Might be a little loud.
Yeah, we became members of the Church of Scientology. All hail Xenu. Some of you may be wondering what Scientology is and what ridiculous nonsense they believe. Ben, tell them what it is. Scientologists believe that Xenu is an alien on another planet that sent all the other aliens to Earth because of overpopulation. He froze them, sent them in spaceships, put them in a volcano. He hydrogen bombed the volcano, captured all the alien spirits, put them in human bodies, and that's why we're conscious today. That's actually what they believe. It's hilarious. We wanted to go do a Sunday service just to check it out and see what it was like.
Minor Doling, Church of Scientology. Why do you guys have a cross? Because you guys don't believe in Jesus, do you?
No, this represents something else.
The only thing we knew about Scientology going into it was they believe in Xenu, and it costs like $100,000 a year just to like be a member of the church. The one thing the Church of Scientology is known for besides nonsense is money. So what's a Sunday service like in the most expensive church in the world?
Welcome to Sunday service.
We're going to give you a little exercise on control. With a group process by the same title, all you have to do is follow the commands. Shall we begin?
Yeah.
Sit in your chair. It's easy enough, isn't it? Sit in your chair. Very good. Sit in your chair. Very good. Sit in your chair. All right. Sit in your chair. Are you sitting in your chair?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Sit in your chair. That's right. Sit in your chair. Good. Sit in your chair. Okay. Sit in your chair. Good. Sit in your chair. All right. Now, are you sitting in your chair?
Yes.
Excellent. Sit in your chair. Thank you. Sit in your chair. Very good. Sit in your chair. All right. Sit in your chair. Good. Sit in your chair. The next command is quite similar. The automated command is
Y'all, this is
where
them
ahead.
infiltrating this.
Where ahead. Where ahead. All right. Where ahead. All right. Let's do that again. Where ahead. Where ahead. Where ahead. Where ahead. Very good. Where ahead. Thank you. Where ahead. Okay. Where ahead. Very good. Where ahead. Good. Where ahead.
Is there
Okay,
church
once more. Where
service?
ahead. Thank you. Where ahead. Good. Okay.
This right
Can't
here is
make
why
this up.
Scientology can legally call themselves a church. It's great. I love it.
I'm going to ask you to have 2 feet. Is that all right? Okay. Have 2 feet. Have 2 feet. That's right. Have 2 feet. Good. Have 2 feet. There's another one. Have 2 feet. 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 Okay. Now, have you obeyed that auditing command?
Yes.
What is
Yes.
going on?
I want you to let your body have a head. Let your body have a head. Good. Let your body.
Y'all go to imagine going to church and this is what you're talking about. They haven't opened up a book at all. No Bible. They don't believe in Bibles or Christianity or anything. They believe that something came and landed in a volcano, people. And somehow it makes a cocoon and people's spirits get trapped in it and you got to break free. Whatever. Oh my God.
Body have a head. Let your body have a head. Good. Let your body have a head. Let your body have a head. Let your body have a head. Now, the next auditing command is very difficult. We've all been trying to do it for a long time. Here's the command. B. That's right. B. Very good. B. Okay, let's do that again. B. All right. And again. B.
You still gotta
B.
stay here the
Very
whole
good.
time
B,
to say
B,
this.
B. Okay, let's do that again. B. 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 Good. B. 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 So now fill the chair. Thank you. Look at the wall. All right. Now we're going to do a communication process, which is called hand mimicry.
We had to add a little bit of sound
They
effects to
just
this next
made
part
up
just
a
to
bunch
spice
of-
it up a
oh
little bit.
my
Feel free to
God.
mimic along if you'd like.
So I'm going to make a motion with my hand. You make the motion with your hand. Here we go. We'll do it again. Good. You got that one?
Yes.
Okay, here's the next one.
Oh. Switching it up.
Okay, here's the next one.
Oh.
They got the music, y'all.
That's right.
Excited?
Excellent. Okay, the next one.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
This is fun.
Here we go.
Yeah, I did more in my kindergarten class than they're doing right now. You understand? By the time I hit first grade, I could read. What are they doing? This is the church service for Scientology. You can't make this up.
Excellent. All right.
Oh
Let's
man,
find
this is
a man.
humiliating as hell.
You're a man.
Find a woman.
You're my woman.
Good, good. Find a man.
Michael, you're my man.
Good. Touch your man.
You're my man.
Touch your woman. Touch your man.
You're my man.
Good. Touch your woman. Very good. Touch your man.
Don't move.
All right. Touch your man.
Oh, let me pause. Yeah, these two dudes infiltrated a church service for Scientology. This is supposed to be a Scientology church service. These two guys went ahead and infiltrated it. This is what they do. What this dude said. Oh, they get on their nerve, y'all. Y'all, this is the worst. It's Scientology Sunday. These two guys went in and infiltrated a Scientology service. This is it.
Good.
Try to touch everyone. Who haven't I touched yet?
Oh
Very
my
good.
God.
That's the end of that process. End of session.
Yeah.
Scientology, baby! Woo! Aren't those church services just incredible? They really get so much. They're really inspiring. Well, sweet. I can't wait to go back next Sunday. So I guess just watch the next video and see what we get into. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, just click it. You just got Mike Wazowski.
Yeah,
I was now being even more careful than I needed
that
to
was
be.
Scientology.
Now what's crazy
service.
to me.
So this is Aaron. This is Aaron. He got charged with battery.
Why didn't you say it the first?
Hold on. I want to make sure I have the video link. So we're gonna just watch some of what he talks about. He was charged with battery, out protesting, and some of the chalk cornstarch got on one of the Scientologist security guards. They whined like a little baby. He was charged with battery, and then he went to court, and they lost. Scientology lost in court. You know, because they think they control our legal system. It's a dumb coat. And the security guard got mad because some cornstarch and chalk landed on him. And they charged Aaron with battery. You can't make this up. So we saw in the beginning the interrogation, like part of the interrogation with Clearwater Police Department. They went along with that BS. And Aaron was in there like, okay, where were you all at when I was being abused and forced into child labor? And he's absolutely right. That's what they do to kids. They make the kids act like they're grown adults, raise kids, raise babies. You know, they treat the kids like adults until it comes down to them controlling them and not letting them do what they want to do. So they can't really do what they want to do. It's a cult. You're under their control. The end. So Aaron is just rubbing it in, and I'm happy for him. Let's go.
First time I said A-Aron. Because it's pronounced Aaron. You done messed up, A-Aron!
A-Aron is here. Welcome back, everybody, for more SPTV, where every day's a great day. Not to be in a cult. The trial of the century is over. Scientology was crushed, embarrassed, humiliated, destroyed. The jury came back with a unanimous verdict of not guilty for A-Aron. I swear to God, they must have deliberated for only like 20, 25 minutes. It was amazing. I'll be honest with you. The entire time I knew that I knew the entire time that we were in court yesterday that the verdict was going to be either not guilty or a hung jury. It was simply impossible after we finished jury selection, which I was, I was able to be a part of. So, it was simply impossible after we did jury selection to conclude that there was any chance at all that these six jurors were going to unanimously find me guilty. The jury selection process was very fascinating. I mean, I'd experienced it before as someone who has myself been selected for a jury. It was a much more interesting process participating in it as the defendant. Every single juror who was selected was a juror that we wanted. And it doesn't mean that the prosecutors were also not okay with some of the jurors, but there wasn't a single juror seated that was not a juror we wanted. And yeah, I have so much to say about this. This is not going to be a quick video. I'm going to take my time. We're going to talk about a lot. I'm going to answer questions. I'm going to give you as much of my thoughts about everything that went down as possible. But let me just jump. By the way, JoJo says, I bet the after party was a blast. Oh yeah. We all went to Flanagan's in Dunedin for the after party last night, and it was freaking amazing. Guys, we had 25 people in court yesterday. I put the list together. I busted out my notes app on my phone, and I wrote down everyone that was part. 25 people, which is remarkable because there's only 36 seats in the courtroom. And they closed one of the benches. They closed the bench behind where me and my lawyers were sitting. So I guess if you squeeze in, there's basically 6 benches. You can fit 6 people to a bench. I guess if you squeeze, you can fit 7. And so some of the trolls that were there to harass were actually squeezed out of the courtroom, which was pretty cool. Yes, we had a fantastic group of people. There was one so-called journalist who has pretty much just become sort of a parasitic pest on the ex-Scientology community, who traveled here for no obvious reason to cover the trial. Dude slept through half the trial. Dude sat in the back row against the wall and slept.
The judge didn't put him out
through half the trial. The only person in the entire.
Yeah, that's how you know you in a sham trial. That judge would have had him removed. You can't go to sleep in court. Are you serious? You get removed. So the judge didn't care at all.
Entire courtroom who fell asleep. Truly incredible. Truly incredible. Let's see. Right off the bat. How is it possible that I was found not guilty? It's pretty simple. The argument for the defense, my team, wasn't that a battery did not occur. It's that it was self-defense from the battery that the Scientology security guards were committing on me and the protesters. And not just in that second, but on that day. And not just on that day, but in the preceding several weeks. If getting powder, because battery is basically defined as unwanted contact with yourself or anything that is connected to yourself. So even if I get powder on your shirt, even if the powder doesn't touch your skin or your body, that's technically unwanted touching. Like your shirt counts as part of you because it's touching you. Now, so if me getting powder on the security guard was unwanted touching, then them getting water on us was unwanted touching. Right. Regardless of whether they poured the water on their property or poured the water on the ground and then the water got on us, when once it was determined beyond any reasonable doubt that the security guards absolutely knew that when they dumped the water on the ground that it was going to hit me and the protesters. You just immediately have a mutual battery self-defense situation. And it was just, it really was just that simple. It's just not complicated at all. And just for fun, I think I'm going to pull up one of the compilations that I did very, very early on, after I was arrested. Who did I send this to this morning? Let me pull it up. I think I sent it to my lawyer just for fun. I'm not even sure he had even seen this before. Okay, I might have to throw in my earpiece for this.
Yeah, I just want to see a little bit of this. This is too good.
I just want to show this to you. This makes it so obvious. The short that I'm going to show you kind of just epitomizes the entire defense. Let me make sure that my mic is still good. My earpiece is good.
Yeah, he went off in the other video.
Let's do the screen share.
Welcome in, hit that like button, y'all.
All right, you guys ready? This really illustrates the defense.
Squeeze at the courtroom.
Here we go. Check it out. You guys are throwing water. Check it out, guys. Check it out. You guys are throwing water towards all of our property. You guys are throwing water right towards our property. Here we go. You guys are illegally throwing water towards protesters. What you're doing is illegal, and we're going to call the police. Squeezy time. Go ahead, do it again. On public property.
Oh, here they're coming, ruining our protest art. Ruining our art.
Oh, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, buddy? That's actually really hot water, by the way. Here we go again, round 2, baby. It's good. We can play this game. Here, wash it off.
Wow.
Wash it off. Here, help me out, guys. Here we go again. There we go. Get out here, buddy. Get him on camera. See what you got. So they walked over their property line and dumped the water on our art.
Oh, we got another one.
Here we go. Let's see what they do.
This is crazy.
Public property now.
They're throwing hot water on them.
This is public property. You just came out and interfered with our Constitutionally protected speech on public property. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. You see him? Here we go. Bring it.
He wasn't gonna do that to Aaron. Eric
Bring it. Bring it. Here you go. Here you go. Smurfed his ass. Smurfed his ass.
Blowing in the wind. No physical contact directly made. You are saying is a felony battle.
Did y'all see that? He struck his ass. See, they out here throwing hot water on them, but the police didn't arrest the cult members. Can you believe that? The cult Scientology guards. They're not arrested at all. But he got arrested the moment he smirked them.
Touch me. You see him? Here we go.
Look at that BS.
Bring it. Bring it. Bring it. Here you go. Here you go. Smurfed his ass. Smurfed his ass.
Blowing in the wind. No physical contact directly made. You are saying.
But they threw hot water on him.
Okay, guys, I'm going to kill the live stream. Going to jail. Hopefully I get bonded out. I hope the security guard survives.
Y'all, that's some effed up stuff.
Join us, Scientology protest, Clearwater, Florida, every Friday, 5:30 p.m. These days, that's every Friday, 4 p.m. Let me put my earpiece away. Smurfed his ass. Smurfed him. I had to promise my lawyers I was not going to use the phrase I smurfed him while testifying on the stand. And true to my word, I did not use the phrase I smurfed his ass, and he deserved it. I also did not cry on the stand, thank God. But I'll tell you why I didn't cry on the stand. The judge literally bent my lawyer over and ripped him a new asshole after his very first question to me. Guaranteeing my lawyer was not going to ask me any more questions about my history in Scientology. Okay, so basically all the questions that I answered really just had to do with the day of the protest. So here, guys, I'm going to be all over the place here because, like I said, we are not in a rush. The judge had issued a series of, orders for what I was not allowed to talk about on the stand, and I'll tell you what the question was. I see Ren is saying, "What was the question?" I'm going to tell you. That's what I'm about to get to. I was not allowed to basically. She said he's allowed to say he doesn't like Scientology. He's allowed to say that he protests Scientology. He's allowed to talk about the YouTube channel. He's not allowed to talk about his history in Scientology. Now, she never said he's not allowed to talk about having a history in Scientology. Like the judge seemed to think that this was crystal clear, and it was not. And the evidence that it was not is my lawyer and my lawyers were all completely on the same page as far as what we thought she meant. I could not call myself a victim of Scientology. I could not talk about having been a victim of Scientology.
Wait, what?
I could not talk about things or incidents where I was victimized while in Scientology. She never said he can't call himself an ex-Scientologist, or he can't say when he got into Scientology, or he can't say when he started working for Scientology. She never said that. She made it pretty clear he can't call himself a child trafficking victim. Right. So we had practiced all sorts of ways to answer questions without even
that's so
without
crazy.
accusing Scientology of any crimes whatsoever. Right. So, for example, if he said to me, "What do you do on your YouTube channel?" I can't say I expose the crimes of Scientology. I could say, at least we thought I could say, I talk about the dirty, dark secrets Scientology doesn't want people to know about, like the things they do to children. Well, someone might hear that and imply crimes or infer crimes.
Yeah, this is crazy.
But I'm not accusing Scientology of crimes. Okay, I'll tell. Okay, so
why ask what do you talk about on your YouTube channel when that is what you talk about? I wouldn't even. Why would the judge permit that question but not permit you to respond truthfully on what you speak about on your channel? So what's the point? What was the intent of even asking about what do you do on your YouTube channel? I criticize Scientologists. I mean, what do you want me to say? What was she expecting? And yet the same judge let somebody fall asleep in the trial, in the courtroom, knock the hell out in their chambers. I mean, in their courtroom. Yep, just dozing and snoozing and a snoring and a drooling.
Here's where everything went off the rails right in the beginning. I think his first question to me was, do you live in Clearwater, Florida? Yes. How long have you lived in Clearwater, Florida? Well, for this present stint, about 20 years. Oh, okay. Where did you live before that?
Is it Pyramid?
And I go, I didn't know if you wanted me to go Los Angeles for 4 years or if you wanted me. I was like, how far back do you want me to go? And he goes, Philadelphia. I said, okay, yes. From this age to this age, I generally grew up in the suburbs of Philadelphia. And he goes, and then what happened when you were 12? And I said, I was 12 years old when I started working full-time for Scientology. The judge hit the roof. Attorneys approach the bench. Now you have to, when I'm on the stand, I'm sitting right next to the judge. So she's trying to talk quietly enough that the gallery can't hear her and the jurors cannot hear her, but I can hear her crystal clear. And she basically says to my judge, she says to my second attorney, she goes, right out of the gate, really? Right out of the gate, you directly violate my motions of limite. I'm going to, what is it called? What's it? Limite, whatever the freaking motion are where she rules about the rules. She goes, right out of the gate. You
limite or limine? In limine. There's a difference. Basically, it sounds like he's trying to say there's emotions for a limitation on, what the scope of the testimony should be about. So you don't want to, bring up, because testimony is evidence, right? So when you're testifying, what you're doing is submitting, of course, your verbal statements, your verbal evidence into the case. You don't want that to be outside the scope of the charges or outside the scope of the line of interrogation or cross-exam that would be deemed irrelevant. And then the jury can't consider it either way, and now you've just wasted time. But I think this judge just overreacted, because you're asking, what does he do on his YouTube channel? Which really would have nothing to do with the charge of the battery, because whether he was recording for his channel or not is irrelevant. It's the fact that he was out there in person, and they're alleging that he threw chalk and cornstarch on them and smurfed them. That's it. So why do you care about what he does on his YouTube channel? What does that have to do with what happened in person, which you're accusing him of doing in person? The YouTube channel was irrelevant to that charge. But yet the judge is okay with somebody asking him, what does he do on his YouTube channel? Make that make sense?
I'm just being my emotions. Here. I couldn't have been more clear. And you do it right out of the gate? She's like, I couldn't have been more clear. Let me tell you, I even held his request.
Let me tell you, I think limitae is the Latin base word. And then in limine is in and then limine, elimine, or enlimine, elimine. Is one of those. But a motion in limine is not the same thing as motion in limite. And these are Latin words, y'all. So it's like they speak a second language. They don't even know it.
To travel over his head to make sure he wouldn't break my rules. And you ask him that question right out of the gate? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to jail. No, I didn't actually think that. It was clear I was answering a relatively harmless question that my lawyer very clearly thought like I wasn't going out of bounds. I was directly answering the question my lawyer asked me. And he's like, Your Honor, my lawyer pushed back respectfully but firmly, right? And for honestly what felt like several minutes. Your Honor, you said he couldn't talk about being the victim of a crime. He couldn't talk about being a victim. He couldn't talk about abuse. You didn't say he couldn't talk about having worked for Scientology or how old he was or whatever. Because guys, even when the police officers were on this stand, they're like, how many years have you been a police officer? How many years have you been with the Clearwater Police Force? Where were you at prior to the Clearwater Police Force? How many years have you been a detective? Exactly what type of training is required to become a police officer or a detective? Like, so then when we even went back to, the judge admonished, the lawyers all said, okay, we're all good. And resumed the questioning. He said, blah, blah, blah. What do you do for a living? And I said, well, primarily I run my YouTube channel. And I said, I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it's called. And the judge goes, counsel, approach the bench.
Oh my God.
And I was
this judge is impossible.
I was like, at least I'm not in trouble. Okay. At least I said, because I was now no longer sure if I'm even allowed to say the name of my channel is Growing Up in Scientology, even though The judge had already said I could mention the YouTube channel or talk about the YouTube channel. I was now being even more careful than I needed to be. Now, what's crazy to me is that I thought the judge was just going to say, yes, you can say the name of the YouTube channel. No, she had the counsel approach, and she's basically like, what is the goddamn name of the YouTube channel? I'm like, she doesn't know.
Yeah, judges use profanity in court. They do cuss. Y'all judges cuss like hell.
She doesn't know. Okay, now this was a very funny misunderstanding that I had with my lawyer, because the prosecutor says, Your Honor, the name of his YouTube channel is Growing Up in Scientology, and the judge was like,
"Oh my God."
It was wonderful, you guys. It was wonderful. Okay. And then my lawyer goes, no, the name of his YouTube channel is SPTV Foundation. And I'm like, uh-oh. And the judge goes, well, one of you is saying one thing and the other is saying the other thing.
Oh,
and
God.
She's like, which one is it? And she basically gave my lawyer permission to ask me about SPTV Foundation. And I could tell at this point, the lawyer looked a little thrown off because he knows I'm the one who's been threatened with contempt of court if I violate the judge's orders, not my lawyers. Okay. And the judge had already threatened.
But here's the thing. The judge can, and they don't like to do this on average, but the judge can hold an attorney in direct criminal contempt of court. They can't. I've seen that happen. It was on national television, as a matter of fact. So Brian, what's his name? Criminal defense attorney for Young Thug in that case. I can't think of his last name, but the criminal defense attorney's first name is Brian. And he was held in direct criminal contempt of court because the judge, who was supposed to be the chief judge over at the Superior Court for Fulton County, asked him, how did you know about, it's a meeting that was held, an ex parte meeting. How did you know about that? And he's like, why did I not know about it? Both parties are privy to this. There's no circumstances to warrant you only speaking with the prosecutor's office, where Fannie Willis, because, in Georgia, we got Fannie Willis and her dumb ass. So we got this horrible TA down here, and her office is having a sidebar in the judge's chambers without the criminal defense attorney. How is that fair? How does that ensure that the defendant is getting a fair hearing and a fair trial when the judge is only meeting with Fannie Willis and her team, but not the criminal defense attorney representing the defendant? So naturally, he was upset about that, as most attorneys would be, because you're having ex parte communication in your chambers with only Fannie Willis and her department, but not the criminal defense. You got to meet with both sides. Whether you like Fannie Willis or not is irrelevant. You got to meet with both sides as the judge. And if you don't, you have to have, there are court rules on what specific cases would permit a judge to have an ex parte hearing or meeting. And that judge failed to do that. And because Brian got upset and brought it up in the hearing, the judge held him in direct criminal contempt of court and tried to have him locked up for 90 days. 90 days. He's like, wait, what? They can do that to the attorneys. But you understand there's a whole litany of things that can happen after that. So judges try to steer clear from that. Plus, you got to remember the attorneys are there to help represent, the parties. And they are supposed to give gentle correction to the judge, because judges don't always get it right. They don't. They all went to law school. They all passed the bar. The difference is the judge is the judge and the attorneys are the attorneys. But knowledge-wise, they're supposed to be of equal footing here. And the judges, supposed to accept correction from the attorneys. Y'all, I think that's correct in the interpretation. You know, here's my argument on this. I would object to that, or this, that, and third. Like, you know, judges don't sit there and think they have supreme power. That's not how this works. We don't uphold a monarchy in the United States of America. Kick rocks. So you do have situations where that happens, but judges, good judges, try to steer clear from that. It sets a bad precedent. So I believe him on that. But man, this judge right here is outrageous.
To throw all of us into jail for contempt if anyone in the fucking gallery's face even so much as twitched. Like, the judge was not nice.
That case was a
she
mess,
just wasn't. I mean, I guess the only people she was nice to was the jurors, which perhaps is how it should be. Or if there was some like actually sympathetic victim in this case, which there wasn't. Anyway, the judge was honestly extraordinarily unpleasant, but that's pretty much been that way the whole time. Okay, so what happened next? So what happened next is my lawyer gets up there and he's like, is your channel called SPTV Foundation? And I go, oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I said, you know, colloquially, my channel is called SPTV, but the SPTV Foundation is separate from my channel and is a nonprofit organization that I run. Now, in retrospect, I wish I would have said that I run that helps people escape from Scientology. But the reason why I didn't throw that in there, by the way, Cheryl, if you are around and you want me to send you a link to this chat and you want to join me in a little bit, I will send it to you. Text me. Just text me. I'm looking at my text
That's
messages.
so funny.
Because Cheryl was fantastic on the stand yesterday.
Well, shout out to Cheryl.
Hold on. Is there text?
Y'all, this is too funny. I just wanted to get a little bit of this in. Hold on.
Great. And I'm like, it's going to be great. But anyway, by the time it was my time to go up, both lawyers agreed, no, keep it cool as a cucumber. And so that's why I was originally, I decided that if he said, what do you do on your YouTube channel? I was just going to say, I expose secrets about Scientology they don't want people to know about. I wasn't going to mention kids. I wasn't going to mention families. I wasn't going to mention abuse. I wasn't going to call it satanic. I wasn't going to say dark, sick, twisted secrets, right? Because they're like, look, anything that's going to be perceived as sort of unnecessarily being prejudicial to the jury, the judge is just going to be furious. And so, okay, so that was funny. So eventually he's like, what's SPTV? I'm like, oh, yeah. But you see, the lawyer was already so, at this point, I guess, threatened by the judge. He didn't even do what he had previously planned on doing after I told him what he was, in our trial prep, we had prepared him talking about SPTV. And then him being like, so what does SPTV mean? I was like, oh, that's suppressive person television. Oh, what's a suppressive person? Oh, that's someone Scientology has declared an enemy. And they declared me an enemy back in 2014. And so that's why we call my channel SPTV. And that's why the SPTV Foundation helps people escape from Scientology. We had planned on saying all of that. We ended up saying none of it. And you know what? I was actually a little grateful because it kept me from being in a frame of mind where my attention was on my past in Scientology and my childhood in Scientology. That's the mind. That's being in, having my mind in the past in that way is what I knew would eventually lead me to like breaking down unnecessarily at a question that didn't even seem like it should do that. So I was actually relieved. And it allowed me to stay very, very much in the present and be a little playful, if you will, because I got to tell you, the prosecutor, well, there's two prosecutors, a guy and a girl. The girl's Morgan Me. The guy, I'm never going to remember his name. They were both really not good at their jobs. But the guy was even worse. Oh my God. Like these prosecutors, it seemed like they had watched lawyers on TV and were doing their best improv of what they think a lawyer should do or say without having an ounce of conviction or sincerity or skill. Like they were terrible. And my lawyers were perfectly pleasant and polite to the state's witnesses that they were cross-examining. The prosecutors were just nasty and kind of insulting. And actually, now that I think about it, the only prosecutor that ever, what is that noise? What is that noise? You guys hear the noise? Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, the only prosecutor who ever actually examined me or cross-examined me, I think was the guy. So I wish I could remember the guy's name. Morgan Me was the female prosecutor, And the guy, he was just so bad. But let me try to give you some examples. So,
oh yeah, they create that record for themselves. And trust me, it does not go unnoticed. So when you're working in the prosecutor's office, you build up a report. You build up a record. Being a jackass and losing cases does not help towards that at all. Because now the judges, they're gonna be like, okay, the state's bringing forth these criminal charges here, and so far, this clown head has got a record of losing and bringing forth frivolous charges, which could be also seen as malicious prosecution. When you're doing this to be malicious, more so defamatory and not necessarily in the pursuit of justice, you don't have sufficient evidence, you can't put a case together, present legal argument, that starts to have a stain on you. And judges, of course, look at this, they see the prosecutors, and then they start asking questions like, okay, what's warranting these charges here? Because what we're seeing and hearing is some garbage. This is starting to come off more and more like malicious prosecution. So you need to explain to us why you feel that this person, in the probable cause hearing, you may have to establish yourself in that probable cause hearing as to why you feel this charge should move forward through this court. And the judges become a lot more stringent on these prosecutors. So what they think they're doing, they're not really getting away with it in the long run, because the judges start to become weary. And then, of course, if you get a judge that somehow entertains that foolishness, and then they start ruling in favor of the prosecutors, and then their cases get appealed, those rulings get appealed and overturned. Now the judge has a bad record. And you see a lot of these judges' cases getting overturned and people are winning an appeal. Then the appellate court's going to start looking down, try to figure out what's going on with this damn judge. And all the while, these private egos start to inflate and get in the way. Instead of them just taking the L and getting the hell on, they keep doing this, thinking that, well, I'm just not going to get caught now. And you can always file a complaint against an attorney and a judge. In Georgia, it's called the JQC, the Judicial Qualifications Commission. They've removed 2 judges in the last 3 years in Georgia alone. So, and both judges, rightfully so, should have been removed. They should have never been judges. But that's what ends up happening. These judges end up getting booted off the bench because now they look incompetent. All their rulings are getting overturned and people are winning an appeal. And it seems like the judge is favoring the prosecutor and being biased. So what they need to do is nip that in the bud with the prosecutors and say, if you don't have sufficient evidence to move forward in the PCC, I'm knocking this out and dismissing it. So you can go figure out how to, be a lawyer somewhere else, but you're not going to keep coming to my courtroom and embarrassing me in my courtroom. That's what this judge should be saying. No, she let this whole thing play out for no damn reason at all. They lost like hell, y'all. That's the whole point of this. The Scientology sucks. They crying about, cornstarch, and then they get mad. But they out there throwing hot water on people. Yeah, he should have sued their asses. But that's all we got for this one, you all. I didn't want to be long. I just wanted to get this in because shout out to A-Aron. He won. And then, the undercover thing was absolutely hilarious. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're going to be going into Umar. Man, good grief. That's a fun live I have scheduled for that one. I just, after last night, I'm definitely, when I say I'm not holding back. I'm talking about it all. I don't care who gets mad. All right. Thank y'all so much. Congratulations to A-Aron for kicking Scientology's ass. They can have aliens and volcanoes and stuff. It's a cult. Y'all be good, and I will see you all next week for Scientology Sunday. And until the next one, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.